Greetings to all my tech heads out there in the KevTechify Nation, and if you're new here, welcome. In this episode, we're going to look at verifying directly connected networks. We'll be discussing interface verification commands, verifying interface statuses, verify IPv6 link local and multicast addresses, verifying the interface configuration, verifying routes, and finally, we'll filter show command outputs. This episode is part of my series on switching, routing, and wireless essentials. I am Kevin here at KevTechify. Let's get this adventure started. As you configure your interfaces, we want to go through and verify our settings. And there's several commands here that allow us to do this. Show IP interface brief, show IP version 6 interface brief. That gives us a nice summary display of our interfaces and their corresponding settings. Show running config interface, and then putting the interface ID in there, gig00, serial 001. That will give you a nice display here of all the commands that are set to that interface, and then show IP route, show IPv6 route. That'll give you all the routing information, and in particular you want to look at the C and the L lines. When we want to verify our interface status, we can use the show IP interface brief. Here it gives us a nice summary of our interfaces. We can see that we have a couple gigabit Ethernet, we have a couple serials. These are their IP addresses. Serial 011 is unassigned, meaning we haven't assigned an IP address. We're probably not using it, so that's fine. And then it gives us our status and our protocol. And once again, as an administrator, you are looking for up there. That means you have everything up and running. The show IPv6 interface brief command gives you the same information. Here we have our gigabit Ethernet 000. We have our status and our protocol both up here. Then it lists all of our IP addresses. Here we have our IP version 6 information. First listed here is our link local address. This was generated using our MAC address and inserting the FFFE in the center. And then we have our global unicast address, gives us all of our IP version 6 information, and then it lists all of our interfaces all the way down. And of course down here we have our serial 011, and that is also down. Once again, we're probably not using it. Nothing is connected to that. When you want to verify all the IP version 6 addresses, the local link and the multicast addresses, use the show IPv6 interface and then specify what interface you want to do. When you do that, we can see here that it gives us our interface, once again saying we're up and up. Then it says IP version 6 is enabled. Our link local address is here. We can tell that this is generated using the MAC address. We have the FFFE in the center there, so this is our link local address assigned to it. Here's our global unicast address. You went in and you set that address manually. And then down here we have our multicast address. Once again, an IP version 6 multicast address starts with FF02, and we see that we are part of 3 IP version 6 multicast addresses. When we go in and verify our network interface settings, we can also use the show running command. The show running -config command, that shows us our current settings. That shows us what our settings is for our device. Those are the settings that are in RAM. Now, if we do the show running config command and then we specify what interface we want to show you, this shows us all the current commands that are applied to this specific interface. And as you can see here, it builds the configurations. There's no output omitted. We just come right down here and we basically show you all the settings that are set for this gigabit Ethernet 00 interface. We have our description, we have an IP version 4 address, we have the negotiation is set to auto, and then we have our IP version 6 global unicast address. When you want to verify the routes on your router, we can use the show IP route command or the show IPv6 route command. Here we are looking for our directly connected networks. We typed in the show IP route command. This gives us our version 4 IP addresses. And down here we have basically 2 codes. One is the C and one is the L. The C stands for connected. These are the networks that are directly connected to us. And if you look at, this is a network address. It ends in all zeros. The slash or the subnet is a 24. So the first 3 octets are the network portion. The last part is the host portion, but if the host portion is zeros, this is the network address. The C signifies what the network address is on our gig Ethernet 00 connection. Then we have an L. The L is our local host route. The local host route is the actual IP address of the interface. We can see here that we have 4 octets. They all have numbers in it. The last octet even has a 0000001, 7 zeros followed by 1, and it's a /32, meaning all 32 bits are part of that network portion. What this does is it allows the router that owns that IP address to process packets destined for that IP address. If you like this episode on verifying directly connected networks and you get value out of it, and depending upon the platform you're using, please click that like button, give a 5-star rating, leave a comment. Doing this supports the channel, which in turn helps me bring you more great content. Subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell. You can also visit my website at KevTechify.com for all of my details and how to get these episodes in video and podcast form. When you do a show command, a lot of times there's more information that will show on a page. In Cisco world, in the iOS software, by default, a page is 24 lines long. If your output is more than 24 lines long, what the operating system, the iOS, is going to do is at the bottom, it's going to put a dash dash more dash dash to signify there's more information to display. Now, if you press the enter key, it's going to display one line at a time. It's going to display the next line. If you press the space bar, it's going to give you the next page of information. It's going to give you the next 24 lines of information. Depending upon if you want to see quickly down that show command, like if you're doing a show running config that's multiple pages long, a lot of times you hit spacebar a couple times and it takes you down there. Once you get close to what you're looking for, if you're looking for the interfaces in a specific interface, a lot of times I spacebar down until I see my interfaces, then I start hitting enter and then display all that information right there. You can change that 24 lines to be a bigger or smaller number. That's where you use the terminal length command. And you go in there and you specify a number and you change what a page is. Instead of 24 lines, maybe you want it to be 30 or 36 because you have a bigger screen. You can also filter out your show commands. You can have them display certain types of information. And what we do is you type in the show command. And here you can type in show space running dash config. Then you put in the pipe sign. What the pipe sign is it's the key above the enter key, but you have to hit the shift. It's a vertical line. That's the pipe sign. And after that, you can put one of 4 words. If you put the word section, it's going to include the section. If you put the pipe sign, then the word section, and then the keyword you're looking for, it's going to display that section that has that keyword in it. Then, if you put in the include and then your keyword, it's going to display all lines that has that keyword in it. If you put exclude, it's going to exclude all lines with the keyword. If you put the pipe sign begin and then you put your keyword and say your keyword is gigabit, it's going to output everything after including the first line that has that keyword in there. If you put in pipe sign begin gigabit, what it's going to do is scroll down through the running config, find the first time it sees the word gigabit Ethernet, output that line and every line after that. That allows you quickly to get to the information you are looking for. These filter commands are sort of a little gem hidden secret in there that helps you be a little bit more efficient with your time on your devices. Another tool that helps you as an administrator is the command history feature. what the iOS system does is it temporarily stores a list of the commands you execute. And what you can do is you can either hit Control P, and that'll take you to the most recent command you entered in, or you can hit the up arrow key. That takes you into, it is the same thing that Control P is. And so if you hit Control P, it takes you to the last command you entered. Hit Control P again, it takes you to the second last one. If you hit the up arrow, it takes you to the one previous to that. You can also use Control N to go down, or the down key. What a lot of people do is don't necessarily use the Control P and Control N. What a lot of people do is just use the up arrow and down arrow to go to the previous commands to find the right command you use. Now, by default, the number of commands it buffers is 10. Myself and a lot of other people, we increase that buffer size up to 10, up to 50 if we're doing a lot of configuration, if we're doing a lot of repeating the same command. You go in there and you go terminal and then history, and then you put that size in there, and that you can increase that from 10 to 50, and that way it'll remember the last 50 commands you have entered in, and that allows you to go up and down fairly quickly using those arrow keys, or Control P and Control N. It was my pleasure to provide you with this wonderful episode on verifying directly connected networks. If you like this episode and you got value out of it, and of course, depending upon what platform you're using, please click that like button, give a 5-star rating, leave a comment. This all helps me bring you more great content. Please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. All of my socials and contact information are on my website, KevTechify.com, and you can get all these episodes in video and podcast form. In the upper right is my playlist for my series on switching, routing, and wireless essentials. In the bottom right is one of my favorite videos that I linked just for you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of my series on switching, routing, and wireless essentials. Once again, I'm Kevin. This here is KevTechify. I'll see you next time for another great adventure.